Ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Hi, I'm Manny, and I've been in a bit of a sort of like circling the drain of creativity because I don't know exactly what to draw or in what style to draw. So I said I still want to draw something, so I decided to just go back to the basics and start practicing. And there is this one website that I remembered from my college days. It's called Pose Maniacs. One word, Pose Maniacs, where you can set it to be like a gesture drawing thing, and it's a website with a lot of 3D renders that you can spin, move around, and examine of anatomical, like an anatomical render of a human, but it's the anatomy, right? No skin, with all the muscle groups highlighted in different like poses and different angles, and it has this feature where you can set it to like a 30-second or 50-second or like unlimited. It basically gesture it's like a live gesture drawing session but with like 3D anatomical models. And I set it so that I could just jump from image to image, and it would randomize all the poses and all the angles. And I just started drawing that because if I don't know what to draw, I might as well be doing something. So, like at the bare minimum, even if you don't feel like drawing something fancy, at least draw boxes in perspective because you're doing something, you're progressing, right? You're growing. Like the worst thing you can do as an artist is if you're not taking a break for like, mental health or making sure you don't burn out, then the worst thing you can do is to just be still and do nothing. By the way, you're gonna notice two things. Firstly, the I placed the camera that's on my hands at a different angle because I got a new monitor because my old one just bit the dust. RIP. And I didn't want to place it the same way I placed it with the previous monitor, where I didn't tape it, but I just sort of stuck it on the top of it facing down, and that messed with the screen a little bit, and I didn't want it to happen with this one. So I placed it diagonally to the side, aiming down. And another thing is that this footage isn't sped up as much as usual because this is only like 17 minutes of drawing, because it felt a little bit overwhelming to me to be like, okay, I gotta record 50 minutes, 50 minutes. But that just made me procrastinate because I got really anxious about it. So I said, okay, I'll just do 15 minutes. And that seemed a lot more approachable. So I just did that. So 15 minutes sped up to 8 minutes ain't gonna be all that much, but I at least wanted to put something out and get something done. Cause, like I said, worst thing you can do is to just do nothing. One thing I'm examining as I'm rewatching this footage during the record is that I don't necessarily have a set method for constructing the body. I just kind of go off of the general idea of the structure. I don't even do the base stick figure or the gesture, the line of action. I straight up just try and get like a blocky impression of the shape. And I don't know if that'll do me very well when it comes to recreating these poses without being able to look at the reference. Because, like I said, I'm not really establishing a process, I'm more just ingraining into my brain a general idea of the pose and the structure. Another thing I noticed is that I am so absurdly scribbly with these because when you watch a lot of other artists do gesture drawings, they'll usually have clean lines, or maybe they'll just use straight lines or barely curved lines, or they'll do very smooth strokes in order to really get the flow of the energy moving through the figure onto the image. But for me, I literally just like scribble, 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 and it looks It's in Spanish we have a word for this kind of thing. The word is garabato, which is just like messy scribbles, right? Like baby's first cursive writing. But for me, it's more about getting the idea down than it is about being precise or even graceful. And you'll notice that I occasionally focus on certain muscle groups. Like here, I am deliberately drawing the muscle group of the abs. No, wait, no, not the abs. I'm a dummy. The pectorals, because I'm trying to examine how they relate to the form. But in other muscle groups, I'll just do the vague, rough shape of it and just leave it at that. Like the hands, for example, the hands are just displayed as like mitts, like triangles. Because I'm not examining the hands right now, I'm going for more of a full body idea. The reason I'm being so scribbly when it comes to these is because I've sort of taken up to using the Clip Studio Paint default gouache brush. Like no changes to it, literally just the default gouache brush. And I'm using it set to a grayish orange to sketch at a very small size. But when you make the brush bigger, it can kind of blend and also have a gritty texture to it. So what I want to do is I want to get my basics down in terms of being able to establish a form in perspective and all the muscle groups and all that stuff, right? Establish the basic structure of the image. And then I just want to color on top of that because I'm kind of making a little bit of a deviation in my art style, which is not to say I'm never going to scribble again. Like I said, I love scribbling. I love the pencil tool and what it lets me do, but I do want to experiment and try move in that direction a little bit, see where that goes. I don't know if sorry. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it as realistic in my style or as close to realism in my style as I usually do. Like I think some stylization is in order to be able to be a bit more flexible with how I can draw and color. Because if it's too realistic and I don't put in the maximum amount of effort to make it look good, then it can get into like uncanny valley territory. And I don't want that. So I'll probably be moving in a bit of a more stylized direction going forward. Even though here I am practicing kind of like realistic proportions and all the muscles and all that stuff. But I think I'm going to start deviating from what I used to do because I can't, like, I don't think I can make as much work. I can make the work I want to make and make as much of it as I want to make if I focus entirely on the strenuous amount of effort it takes to make it as realistic as I'm used to making it. But anyway, that's all the yapping I've got for today. Thanks for listening or watching, and hopefully see you in the next one. Bye bye.